Hello everyone, my name is Samantha and I am with Empower Multimedia. We post content regarding business, academia, and entrepreneurship. Remember, if you ever need help with starting or growing your business, click the link in the description for a free 15-minute consultation. Today we will be covering how to file an LLC in Texas. Just as a reminder, this video is strictly informational and not advice. Now let's get into it. Let's take a look at the 6 steps you need to do to file for your LLC in Texas. This information is coming from nolo.com. So the first step is to choose a name for your LLC. Under Texas law, an LLC must contain the words limited liability company or limited company, and you can use abbreviations for this. Your LLC's name must be distinguishable from the names of other business entities already on file with the Texas Secretary of State. Names may be checked for availability at the Texas Secretary of State SOS Direct website. Now, you also have the option to reserve a name for 120 days by filing an application for reservation or renewal of reservation of an entity name, which is Form 501, with the Texas Secretary of State. The reservation may be filed online through the Texas Secretary of State SOS Direct website or filed by mail. The filing fee for this is $40. As a side note with names, you don't have to use your LLC's official legal name registered in your certificate of formation when you do business out in the real world. Instead, you can use an assumed name, also known as a DBA, which is short for doing business as, or trade name or fictitious business name. To do so, you must register an assumed name certificate, which is Form 503, with the Secretary of State of Texas and with the county clerk in the county where your LLC's office is located. You can register online through the SOS Direct or by mail. The filing fee for this is $25. So the second step is to appoint a registered agent. Every Texas LLC must have an agent for service of process in the state. This is an individual or business entity that agrees to accept legal papers on the LLC's behalf if it is sued. The registered agent may be a Texas resident or a business entity authorized to do business in Texas. The registered agent must have a physical street address in Texas, and the LLC may not be its own registered agent. Your third step is going to be to file a certificate of formation. A Texas LLC is created by filing a certificate of formation for a limited liability company, which is Form 205, with the Secretary of State. The certificate may be filed online through the Texas Secretary of State SOS Direct website or by mail. The filing fee is going to be $300. Now, here is what the certificate must include: the LLC's name, including the chosen LLC designation, the name and address of the LLC's registered agent, whether the LLC will be member-managed or manager-managed. If member-managed, the name and address of each initial member. If a manager-managed, the name and address of each initial manager. The general purpose clause as provided. The name and address of the LLC's organizer, the effective date of certificate, and the signature of the organizer. So your next step, you're going to want to consider preparing an operating agreement. So this is not required in Texas, but it is highly advisable. This is an internal document that establishes how your LLC will be run. It is not filed with the state. It sets out the rights and responsibilities of the members and managers, including how the LLC will be managed. It can help preserve your limited liability by showing that your LLC is truly a separate business entity. In the absence of an operating agreement, state LLC law will govern how your LLC operates. The operating agreement should include the following: the members' percentage interests in the LLC, the members' rights and responsibilities, the members' voting powers, how profits and losses will be allocated, rules for holding meetings and taking votes, and finally, buyout or buy-sell provisions, which determine what happens when a member either wants to sell his or her interest, dies, or become disabled. Your next step is going to be obtaining an EIN. Now, if your LLC has more than one member, it must obtain its own IRS Employer Identification Number, or EIN for short, and this is even if it has no employees. If you form a one-member LLC, you must obtain an EIN for it only if it will have employees or you elect to have it taxed as a corporation instead of a sole proprietorship. You may obtain EIN by completing an online EIN application on the IRS website, and for this there is no filing fee. Finally, you're going to want to consider annual reports. Now, unlike most states, Texas does not require LLCs to file annual reports with the Secretary of State. However, LLCs must file the annual franchise tax reports. So now that it's all said and done, how much does it cost to form an LLC in Texas? So the Texas Secretary of State charges a $300 filing fee plus an additional state-mandated 2.7% convenience fee to file an LLC certificate of formation. It will also cost $40 to file a name reservation application if you wish to reserve your LLC name prior to the filing certificate of formation. Just as a note for veterans, if you are forming a 100% veteran-owned business, the Secretary of State will waive this filing fee for qualifying veterans, for example, honorable discharges. And these are if they file directly by mail, in person, or by fax. And for more information, visit the Secretary of State's Business Information for Veterans page. So what about foreign LLCs in Texas? To do business in Texas, all LLCs organized outside of the state must register with the Texas Secretary of State. Foreign LLCs must appoint a registered agent for service of process. The agent may be a Texas resident or a business entity authorized to do business in Texas. To register, file an application for registration of Foreign Limited Liability Company, Form 304. The application may be filled online or in postal mail. The filing fee for this is $750. Before filing the application, make sure the LLC's name is available in Texas by checking the Texas Business Name Database. If the name is not available, the foreign LLC must adopt an assumed name for use in Texas. The LLC must file an online or by mail an assumed name certificate, which is Form 503, with the Secretary of State and pay a $25 filing fee. Now if we're thinking about taxes, in some cases, for example, you will be selling goods and collecting sales tax, you will need to register with the Texas Comptroller of Public Accounts. Texas also imposes an annual franchise tax on most LLCs. Depending on the tax involved, you may be able to register online, by mail, or in person at the Comptroller field office. That sums up the video. Thank you for watching, and please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Remember, if you ever need help with starting or growing your business, click the link in the description for a free 15-minute consultation.